Hello YouTubes. A couple of weeks ago I got an interesting email which I shall now read to you. This is Daisy at YesWelder. We noticed that you posted a video of our TIG 205DS machine, TIG welding on a budget with the YesWelder TIG 205DS, link up there. It's so amazing. Thank you so much for your support. Is it okay for you to authorise us the right to credit and promote your video on the campaign page and other social channels? Please feel free to let us know. That was nice. So I replied with, "Hi Daisy, I would be delighted if you use my video. I am loving my new welder. It actually seems too low priced for the quality of the product." Daisy then replied, "Hi Dave, hope you're well. We would love to support what you do and send you a plasma cutter of ours to try out and give your honest review." Well, okay then. This is the YesWelder Cut 55DS dual voltage plasma cutter. So when I say it's dual voltage, 110/220, comes with a regular 110 plug, but it also comes with an adapter to plug it into your 220, 240 garage power output. Big chunky plug, which is exactly the same as my welder, so I don't have to install a new outlet. So that's nice. So that plugs straight in there. Hey presto, 220. Now what I'm thinking is, obviously if you're only running it on a 110 system, you're not going to be able to cut as thick material as you would with the 220. That's just logic. So what else do we get in the box? We get air pressure regulator with a little bracket to attach it to the back of the system. It also comes with two little kind of shark bite connectors. I'm already seeing a problem with this because I'm going to have to plug in my air compressor line, and it's not going to go in either of them. I'll get to that later. Excuse me. Comes with some plastic air line. Again, we'll get to that later. Comes with a nice big ground clamp, your cutting torch. It's got a guard over the trigger, which is nice. Feels really good actually. Connection is your usual screwy in thing, and a little accessory kit with extra cups and nozzly things. I'm so technical. And also some instructions, which I will read because I'm doing an honest review, and a couple of hose clamps. Okay, where do we start? Let's get the air pressure regulator on the back. So here's our pressure regulator slash air filter, water filter, whatever. If it collects with water, you would pull that down and it would force out any water. Attaches to this little clamp here. Now if you notice there's a little groove, presumably that goes in that slot there. So it'll need to go that way. So let me get this on here. Like so. Remove this. Insert. Now I'm going to have these markings facing me, just in case I ever need to read that. Max pressure 9.9 kgf/cm squared. Whatever that means. Retaining screw on the top. installed. So the next thing, we need to connect one side to the air in and the other side to the air in. What I mean by that is air comes in one way from the compressor, air goes out and then into the unit down here. But as I mentioned before, one side is fine for the plastic pipe to go down, but this side I will need to install one of these, which does not come with the kit. But then not everyone's got the same air compressor and fittings. Might give this a bit of a clean because it's been kicking about in the garage for a wee while. But that will get screwed in that side, and then my air line will connect like so. Always a good idea to add some plumber's tape to these air connections. There's already some on the shark bite connector, so we're good there. Now we need to cut a section of tube, this stuff here, to go from this point down to that point there. Ram that in there. Oh, it's a tight one. Use the supplied hose clip on there. Let's see, where's going to be the best way to get access. You got this lip in the way, so if you're screwing it there, that's going to get in the way, so probably straight down the way. Nope, because then you've got the cable at the top. I'm going to go with flipping it over, doing it on the underside. And then this has to obviously curl round, something like that. Then just ram it in there. Not holding a lot of hope for this because it's kind of pulling it this way. If you curl this too much, you get a kink in the pipe. Actually, a quick update. So this is the best routing I've found. You don't get any kinks. This comes in kind of a straight angle. The pipe is not protruding past this level or this level or that level. I just wanted it as neat as possible. So that's a routing, cable tie to hold it in place. Okay, I'm happy to move on. Moving to the front of the machine then, we have our ground clamp. Can only go in one place, and that place would be there. Push it in, turn it, that's that done. Then we've got a big one for our torch, which is for the air, I believe, which is that one there. That screws in there. Tight that one, and our switch for our torch. This can only go in one place as well. There's a notch here, which is at the bottom. Screw that in. And this red wire, which I am going to look up the instructions to see why that's separate. Presumably it goes in there. But I'm going to check this in case it's an optional thing. Not quite sure why it would be separate. Right, the instructions don't really mention this, but I did notice, if you look under here, there's some symbols. One on the left is obviously a picture of the torch. The red one is arc start, which is nice. That one presumably is just your power switch. And that's your ground clamp. It's kind of weird because if you look closely at this, There's actually two little wires here which have been cut, presumably for some different wire connector. So I'm not keen on that because you can just see two little bare wires in there, which must have been used for a different machine. So I might put some tape around that. So for now, I'm going to attach this red arc start wire onto there and put this cap on. And hopefully that will be everything ready to go. So let's see if there's any information in the instruction manual on how to actually use this thing. So the kit does come with a bag of spares, and from what I can see is there are 1, 2, 3 parts to this. You get the pink cup, you've got this which they call the external nozzle. No, that's a pink cup. This is the electrode nozzle. And the little thing inside is the plasma spear or something. Let's see what's inside. It might all just be bad translations. So that comes off, and then this will unscrew. Okay, and then you've got this, which also unscrews. So we'll leave that in because we know that that's supposed to be there. So there's a hole in the middle of that for the air to come through and force the electricity downwards through your steel or your aluminum, depending what you're cutting. Put all this together. We're almost ready to start. But first, I need to hook up my compressor, get that fired up, get it up to pressure. That'll take a wee while because it's not a very big compressor. It should be enough for this. And then plug in my air connection to this and make sure it's not leaking before I attempt cutting anything. So the instructions don't really say much about air pressure other than if you want to cut through thicker steel, you need more pressure. The only number that I can find is on the back of this air pressure filter. Max pressure is 9.9 kilograms, which is about roughly 140 psi. So I have set my compressor to 100 psi for now. I don't want to blow it apart. I mean, it's not a huge compressor, you can see it is tiny. But it should be enough to get started. So let us plug it in and see if it hisses or if it actually holds air. And this is the shortest hose I can find, okay? No hissing. That's a good start. Although, that's only going into the... No, that should be okay. I was thinking that's only going into the air filter, but it must be going through the clear tube as well. Okay, let's have a look at the front of the machine. Front control panel then. Obviously that is your air pressure gauge. You have a couple of switches here, clicky there and a knob there. Top one is 2-step and 4-step, which is basically you can either have the option to press the torch and keep it pressed for it to work, or press it once, let it go, it will keep running until you press it again. That's the difference between 2-step and 4-step. I'm not sure what this button's for yet. You've also got indicator warning lights up here, but you can't tell what they are unless you shine a torch way up there. And then you've got some tiny little symbols. So you've got your power on, you've got your overheating indicator, and your torch protection indicator over here. But as I say, without a torch and from your normal operating angle, which is here, you're never going to see them. Which is not the best, but okay, let's move on. Need to figure out what that button is. And obviously if you turn the knob, that will change your current, but I noticed that it also clicks in the way. So I don't know what that does. Let's grab some scrap steel and see what happens. I will also need some welding gloves and a welding helmet. Right then, I have some 18 gauge body panel stuff. I have some, whatever gauge that is, it's like 2mm. It's like twice as thick as the 18, whatever that is. And I've got some good old 1/4 inch. Not sure how well it's going to cope with that. But we'll start small with the 18 gauge and work our way up from there. Right, gloves, helmet, power. Remember to overhang your work so you don't cut through your metal bench. That would be really, really silly. So I've got my ground clamp on, got my torch ready, got my gloves, got my helmet. I've set my machine to about 25 PSI, whatever it is. It's about halfway in the machine, so it should cut through this no problem at that power. Let's find out. Okay, there's no air coming through. Let's see what's going wrong. Okay, I had to adjust that air pressure control valve at the back of the machine quite a bit. Let's see how we get on now. It cuts, not very straight, but you know what, I'm going to find some form of rule guide that I can use, because it looks quite nice and I don't want to show you it until I've got a nice straight line to demonstrate. I'm going to have to play about with air pressure settings and current. Okay, let's try again. Now, I didn't cut the whole section off because I wanted you to see how neat that little line is. As you can see, it's very neat, like surprisingly so. So it's only held on with that section at the end. You see what I mean? That is a neat cut. Right, let's move on to the next thickness up. I'll use that guide again. Now I may have to turn up the voltage, the ampage, the current, whatever for this, but we'll give it a shot at, I think we're at 25. We'll give it a shot, see what happens. So it's not cutting all the way through at 25, so I've turned it up to 30 just to finish this off. I've actually cut a separate line. One more go. Still not quite deep enough. I'm going to go up to 40. This is thicker steel. I'm going to get a closer look at the result for that. That is a nice cut. Obviously not perfectly straight because I must have moved my little guide. I maybe lifted the torch on top of it, but that's a nice cut. Okay, let's try the big boy. 1/4 inch steel. Good luck. Okay, this time I'm going to max out the machine all the way up to 55. See if we can get through this. I'm not using a guide, I just want to see if it'll cut. 55. Here we go. I'm actually blown away. That was so easy. Obviously you've got the usual nasty stuff at the bottom, but without a guide, and that's a nice cut, just for a freehand job. In conclusion then, I have to say I'm astonished at how good this is so far. I'm not exactly experienced in plasma cutting. I've only used one a couple of times before. So straight out the box, despite the not so great instructions, I managed to get some really nice cuts. With very little waste. You've got a bit of slag or whatever you call it at the bottom that would need ground off. But there's not a lot of waste there, and the cut is really precise. Again, not really been messing with settings either. I'm sure I could get better with different air pressure settings and voltage settings. But the big one for me was how easily it cut off a 1/4 inch section of steel. And again, just freehand. It's not a bad cut. You got the usual garbage at the bottom, but pretty good. Fantastic. Now, a couple of things that could make this better. A bigger compressor. You probably heard my compressor coming on quite a lot. Maybe I'm just using too much air, but obviously a bigger compressor would be better. And that's about it, really. That's all you would really need for this little machine to be perfect, is a bigger compressor. The instructions are not great, I have to say, but instructions are easy to amend, I would think. The good thing about the YesWelder company, they do seem very responsive to customer feedback. So I'm sure on this video, and if I send them an email with some suggestions, bear in mind a lot of this is going to be built in China and the translation's not going to be perfect. But with the consumer's help, we could actually turn this product into something really good. I've no idea how long it's going to last. But from what I've seen with other people reviewing it, it does actually have some pretty good internals. Pretty decent electronics inside, which is rare. It looks nice, it's really neat. And it cuts really well. So I have no problem at all endorsing this product. So, with that said, YesWelder have given me a link for you guys to get 10% off if you want it. So that will be in the description below. And if you use my coupon code, I think it's Dave Scott, it'll be in the description below. You get 10%, and even I get 10%. Now, I know that sounds like it's a bit biased, but how can I not be? It works great. And they sent it to me asking for an honest review, which is what I've done. Couldn't be happier. I think you'd be happy too. Thanks for watching, everyone. What'll I review next? Don't know. Depends if anyone sends me anything. Take care. Stay safe. See you in the next one.